Good morning, guys. Next episode here in our H.A.A.G series. We're going to be working on hips and hammies. So everyone's got pesky hip problems and pesky hamstring problems and everything in between. So what we're going to be doing here is troubleshooting some hip problems, some hamstring problems, and trying to unlock that tight backside. So what we have here is we're doing our back march, which you've seen in some other videos, which I truly believe these are a great pattern to do. So what I'm actually doing here is I'm isometrically driving my heel into the floor on the straight leg here, keeping my hamstring, adductor, glute isolated into the ground and internally rotated while I'm trying to extend through my top leg here. Now, what this is doing is it's helping me posture my pelvis on the opposite side of my hip as my other hip works through everything else. It works through the abdominals, it works through the quad and adductor, works through the psoas here. So everything that we're working through, we want to stabilize on the backside. This is also going to help if you have a very tight hip crease. If you're stuck in your hip crease and you can't lock out, you can't straighten out your hip flexors, this is going to help out as well. We're going to unpeel those hip creases to get you a better leg extension, to get you a better hip extension, to get you walking differently and standing over your midline better, and getting you down to the deadlift bar easier, and getting down in your squats easier, and making sure that you're functionally inside your ranges during your big patterns. But we want to make sure that we apply this as practically as possible. This next one here, we have our split stance double hammy special. Now, we're going to start in our split stance position here, and we're going to think active toe, and we're going to grab the ground with this front leg here, trying to make a 90-degree knee as much as possible. Now, what we're going to do is pull our shoulders forward and down, trying to protract slightly forward into the rib cage and breathe into this inner thigh. And I'm firing both these hamstrings as hard as I can right now. I'm trying to drag my front foot back towards me, and my trail leg, I'm trying to flex my hamstring and glute as hard as I can. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting this foot nice and used to planting forward here and getting this knee past the toe a little bit more without losing the heel. So there's quite a bit going on in this movement. We've combined quite a few different skill sets here, where we're working into some different active mobility patterns. And we're also working into kind of troubleshooting the hips. So most people have problems with their hip flexors, problems with their knees, problem with everything around them. So we want to try to make sure we cover as many of our ranges as possible, and we try to build the capacity so they know what they're doing and the hamstrings are ready for the jobs that we're giving to them. And they're able to stay on when they're supposed to be on and not just stuck in whatever position they might be jammed into or stuck on long. So our next one that we're going to be shifting into here is our bridge heel locked pattern. So bridge heel locked here, so we're not extending through the glute, but you're trying to squeeze that heel into the floor and towards your butt cheek and keep your oblique locked on the bent leg side. And then what I'm trying to do here is keep this leg as straight as possible and work through my opposite hip. The opposite leg, the bent knee leg, the one that's on the ground, I'm still trying to internally rotate that knee and maintain my midline here. So that adductor's firing very hard right now, and both obliques are firing hard as well. Now I'm trying to flex my glute to fight against my adductor here, and then I'm firing my adductor and pulling it back up to the top. So we work through this straight leg pattern here. Most people have had very tight hamstrings for a long time, and it has to do with their pelvis positioning. Now, these type of patterns here are going to help that because they force you to adopt a better pelvis positioning so that now you can actually work on the hamstring itself and work on the adductors and work on the glutes because you're in the right position to do so. So we want to make sure we're trying to do this as controlled as possible and to not accumulate too much uncontrolled motion during these patterns, because this is where we're setting our patterns. This is kind of our functional ranges. This is where we're able to go and come back from safely. So we want to make sure we take our time and pay attention to where those ranges are. It's going to keep you a lot safer in your motions. You're more likely to notice an uh-oh before something happens versus ow, I just blew something out. All right, guys, give some of this a try. Let me know what you think about it.